They never spoke to anyone. Not their teachers, not even their own parents. Only each other, in whispers, in secret. Until one day one of them simply dropped dead with no warning. And the other? She just walked away, smiling. Like it was all part of the plan. This isn't fiction. This is one of the strangest, most unsettling real-life murder mysteries you've never heard of. June and Jennifer Gibbons were known as the silent twins, inseparable, unreadable, and totally alone in their own world. What happened between them during their years of silence, isolation, and obsession would culminate in a chilling pact, a sudden unexplained death, and a question that still haunts investigators and psychiatrists to this day. Did one twin willingly die so the other could live? Who they were, the isolated world of June and Jennifer. June and Jennifer Gibbons were born on April 11, 1963, in the British colony of Aden, what is now Yemen, to Barbadian immigrant parents. When they were young, the family relocated to Haverfordwest, Wales, where their father worked as a technician for the Royal Air Force. The Gibbons family tried to raise their children as normally as possible, but June and Jennifer were anything but ordinary. From the outside, they looked like any identical twins, inseparable, curious, playful, but something was off. As toddlers, they began speaking to each other in a language no one else could understand. At first, it seemed like a normal case of twin speak, a made-up dialect siblings sometimes invent. But as they grew older, it became clear this wasn't gibberish, it was a complex private language, rooted in English but twisted beyond recognition, spoken so rapidly that even tape recorders struggled to pick it up. By the time they were 6, June and Jennifer had completely withdrawn from the world. They didn't respond to their teachers. They ignored classmates. Even their own parents couldn't break through. It was like they were under a spell or part of one. When forced to engage, they'd freeze up motionless, mute, eyes fixed downward. School officials were baffled. Therapists were confused. No one had seen selective mutism on this level before, and behind closed doors, things got darker. Inside their bedroom, the twins created entire fantasy worlds. They wrote chilling short stories and novels filled with obsession, violence, and death. Their fiction wasn't just dark, it was eerily prophetic. Stories about twins driven mad by love. One twin dying so the other could escape. Tales of poison, sacrifice, and haunting. By their teens, they were utterly cut off, trapped in their own mirror, a prison of two. Timeline: from isolation to institutionalization. The breaking point came in the early 1980s. Now 18, June and Jennifer were no longer content with living through their stories. They began acting them out. First came petty vandalism, then arson. In 1981, they burned down a local tractor store and tried to torch a technical college. When arrested, they didn't resist. They simply stared. A psychiatric evaluation followed. The findings were disturbing. Both girls exhibited signs of schizophrenia, dissociation, and deep codependency. But the most shocking part? They told doctors they had made a pact. One of them would have to die, they said, so the other could be free. Authorities, unsure of what else to do, committed them to Broadmoor Hospital, a high-security facility normally reserved for the criminally insane. They were sentenced indefinitely, despite having no history of physical violence toward others. Inside Broadmoor, things got worse. The girls were heavily medicated and often separated, something that triggered catatonic episodes. June would go mute for days. Jennifer would self-harm. Staff reported seeing them move in eerie synchronization, blink at the same time, eat at the same time, even stop breathing in rhythm. Other patients began to fear them. Even the nurses said the air in their room was different. as if the twins were conducting some unseen ritual, locked in a psychological warfare only they understood. They wrote obsessively, hundreds of pages, journals filled with confessions, cryptic codes, and dark imagery. Jennifer once wrote, "We have become fatal enemies in each other's eyes. We feel the strangling pressure, the need for one of us to die." No one took it seriously until one of them actually died. Disturbing details, a death without cause. In March 1993, after 11 years inside Broadmoor, the hospital decided the twins could be moved to a lower security facility, Caswell Clinic in Wales. They were both excited, but Jennifer more than June. She whispered to her sister, "It's time." The day of the transfer, Jennifer appeared sleepy. Her speech was slurred. June said her sister leaned against her shoulder in the van and whispered just one word, "Free." Moments later, Jennifer collapsed in her seat. When they arrived at the new clinic, she was unresponsive. Doctors rushed to help her, but it was too late. Jennifer Gibbons was dead. Cause: acute myocarditis, a rare inflammation of the heart. No drugs, no poison, no trauma. Her heart had simply stopped. She was only 29 years old. June, strangely, didn't cry. She didn't panic. She just stood up, walked over to her sister's body, and whispered something to her. Then she walked out of the room for the first time. She spoke to the nurses in full sentences. Later, she told a journalist, "We had a deal. I'm free now." The autopsy couldn't explain her death. There was no medical history, no viral infection. Some psychiatrists suggested Jennifer's body had simply given out due to the years of psychological pressure or something more supernatural, death by willpower. What did they really agree on? Why did Jennifer die that day, that moment? And why did June suddenly become normal? Suspects and motives. Was it suicide, murder, or something else? When Jennifer Gibbons died without warning on March 9, 1993, questions swarmed like vultures. Who or what was responsible? Let's break it down. First, the official narrative. Natural causes. Doctors ruled her death as acute myocarditis, a rare inflammation of the heart that can happen suddenly and kill within hours. But here's the thing. Jennifer had no prior symptoms, no fever, no chest pain, no visible weakness in the days leading up to the move, nothing. And there's the timing. The very day the twins were being transferred to a lower security facility. June would later claim Jennifer knew she was going to die. She even said she gave herself permission to die. But is that even possible? Let's explore some theories. 1. Suicide by willpower. Could someone literally die just by choosing to? Some psychologists believe the Gibbons twins had such an intensely fused identity that when Jennifer made the conscious decision to die, her body obeyed. This concept, often called psychogenic death, has been observed in pose and trauma victims who simply give up. But it's extremely rare. Jennifer had reportedly stopped eating in the days before her death, claiming she was tired. Her writings hinted that she was preparing for death as an escape, not from the hospital, but from the bond she couldn't break. 2. Homicide. By June? Let's go darker. What if Jennifer didn't die voluntarily? Some have speculated quietly, because no charges were ever filed, that June may have poisoned her sister. No toxins were found, but what if it was a slow buildup? Something that wouldn't show on a standard autopsy? Here's where it gets eerie. Jennifer had told her diary, months before, that June was possessed and that she feared for her life. She wrote, "She wants me to die. She wants to take my soul. I feel it every time we breathe together." There were also disturbing signs of violent competition between them. fights, strangulation attempts. One would try to drown the other. Jennifer was once found trying to suffocate June with a radio cord. Is it possible that June finally succeeded? 3. Shared psychosis, aka folie à deux. This is a rare but real psychiatric condition where two closely bonded individuals share the same delusions or identity. In extreme cases, it leads to one person absorbing the other mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. Some experts believe Jennifer's death was not suicide or murder, but a psychic breakdown of their mutual identity. That one twin had to physically die to resolve the fractured self, a doctor once said. They weren't two people. They were one soul in two bodies. And something had to give. Evidence, the journals, the recordings, the signs they left behind. Let's examine the trail of clues, the eerie breadcrumbs June and Jennifer left behind, because they documented everything. 1. The diaries. While at Broadmoor, both sisters kept meticulous diaries, thousands of pages worth. Their entries are unsettling, poetic, and at times disturbing. Jennifer wrote, "We are both holding each other back. There is a murderous gleam in her eye. I know she will kill me if I don't kill her first." June, in contrast, often wrote about freedom. She saw herself as the weaker twin, trapped in Jennifer's shadow. One entry reads, "She is the shadow, the stifler of my soul. I want to live. I want air." 2. Forensic reports. The autopsy on Jennifer's body revealed zero trauma, no toxins, no infection. Her organs were healthy, but her heart had simply stopped. One pathologist said, "It's as if her heart was instructed to die." June was never charged or even investigated seriously. But the oddity remains. No medical explanation could fully account for what happened. 3. Psychiatric interviews and recordings. In therapy sessions, the twins spoke cryptically about the sacrifice. Doctors recorded sessions where Jennifer said things like, "I will die so she can live. I have decided. We made a pact. I'm tired now." June, when asked if she wanted Jennifer to die, hesitated, then said, "I didn't want her to, but I accepted it." 4. Final words. On the morning of her death, Jennifer's last words were to June in the car, "At last, we are free." June late confirmed, they had decided long ago that one of them would die to release the other, but no one knows how that decision was acted upon. Media frenzy, twists, and theories. The story exploded in the British press. The silent twins became a media obsession tabloids couldn't get enough. And yet, the more the media dug, the weirder it got. Public reaction. Some people believed it was a tragic case of mental illness. Others claimed it was a satanic pact, a spiritual suicide, or even possession. One psychic investigator, yes, really claimed the twins were part of a twinning curse, a spiritual phenomenon where one twin is destined to consume the other to achieve balance. Weird? Yes, but nothing about this case is normal. The twist, June's recovery. Here's the biggest twist. After Jennifer died, June seemed to recover. She started speaking clearly, interacting socially, and eventually moved into her own flat. She said, "I'm not haunted. I feel lighter. I miss her, but she set me free." That's what chilled people the most, not the death, but the sense that Jennifer was the cost of June's sanity. Current status and final question. So where is June now? She's alive, quiet, living in the UK, reportedly writing poetry and living a peaceful life. She occasionally does interviews, but avoids talking in depth about Jennifer. The case remains unsolved because technically no crime was committed, but many believe Jennifer didn't just die. She was sacrificed, whether by herself, by June, or by some darker force they invited in. Final question to the audience. What really killed Jennifer Gibbons? A medical mystery? A psychic death? A twin's betrayal? Or something far more terrifying? Drop your theories in the comments. And remember, some stories don't need ghosts to be horrifying. They just need two minds trapped in one soul. Some mysteries stay buried, but the shadows always whisper the truth. You just have to listen. If this story unsettled you, it should. Because what happened to the Gibbons twins wasn't fiction, it was real. And it could happen again. Thanks for watching another descent into the darkness with us here on Creepy Casefiles. You crave more real horror, disturbing truths, and unsolved nightmares. Hit that like, tap subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss what crawls out of the case files next. Until next time, keep your lights on. You never know what's watching.